Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters. Today we're in Salzburg, Austria. And yes, that is Mozart's Geburtshaus, or his birth house. And I got to start this off when we're talking about the don'ts of Salzburg today. The number one don't I have for you when it comes to Salzburg is don't be surprised if they shove Mozart down your throat again and again and again when you're here in Salzburg. You cannot get away from Mozart when you are here. Whether it is the Mozart Geburtshaus, his birth homes, or the Mozart house where he lived, they have that. Or if you want to get the little ducks that are dressed like Mozart, or if you want to get the Mozart kugel and the little Mozart balls, there's tons of stores that have that. You will have so many Mozart things here, and honestly, don't pass up on going on to a Mozart concert when you are here, because you can actually get good shows and really professional performers to have it when you're here. But just know, there'll be Mozart, and more Mozart when you're here, so don't get over Mozart when you are here, but you probably will. It is actually okay. Now, the Mozart Geburtshaus is worth going in. It's a little pricey, but if you like Mozart, if you ever liked Mozart, you want to really learn about him, actually it's a cool museum worth doing. And honestly, you go there once, you can really enjoy it, see his violin when he was a little kid, and it's kind of a cool idea to have that story here. And there's other things you can see about Mozart around town. There's the Mozart plots with the statue of Mozart. I said the Mozart balls, right? So you get a lot of Mozart when you are here, all right? And with those Mozart balls, I got to tell you this. Don't think there's only one kind of Mozart kugel when you come here. Now, Mirabelle is probably the one you're going to see all over the country and in other countries when you're traveling around. And if you're not sure what the Mozart kugel are, it's this chocolate ball that's got pistachio, marzipan, nougat around it, and chocolate around it. Actually, they're fantastic and wonderful souvenirs to bring back from here. I will say, though, don't think Mirabelle and all these other ones are the only thing that's out there. The first brand is the first one to make it, so you want to try those. You get those more in the center, even more in the center when you are here. But you can get all kinds of other companies make it. I mean, there's tons of them out there, so you can get that. I'd recommend getting these to take home because they're cheaper than the first ones, right? And you can get them in bigger packages, so you get them other places. Also, I'm going to say, if you want to buy some of those to take home as souvenirs, which I will be doing, don't buy them here in the Altstadt in the center. Just go outside the center. Go to the other side of the river and get them. They'll probably be a little bit cheaper. You can take more home for your friends. They'll like that you went to Salzburg and remember them and Mozart when you were here. So remember that. And also, I got to tell you, don't eat too many of them because after a while, it feels like you have a bomb of marzipan and pistachio in your stomach. Now, another don't you're actually going to love when you come here to Salzburg is you don't have to worry about your safety. I mean, Austria in general is actually very safe. Salzburg is no different. But of course, use your usual common traveler sense because it's not going to be the Austrians that'll pick on you or rob you or anything like that. That's going to be other tourists. And honestly, it's not really a problem when you're here, which is really cool. Another thing I think is really important to know is don't worry about public transportation when you're here because you're going to be walking around to see anything. I mean, the longest one-time walk you'll have is probably from the train station to your hotel. Everything else, you're just going to be walking around from site to site to site when you're here in downtown, so you don't really have to worry about public transportation. And honestly, going along with that walking around thing, I'll tell you this. Don't forget to bring some good shoes, not just for walking around town, but for doing some of the hikes, because there's actually some really easy hikes, but with beautiful views you can do. You can go up the Festungsberg, where that fortress is, the Hohensalzburg. You can walk up there if you want. You don't have to take the funicular. You can go up there, or you can go to Münchsberg, and you can walk up there. I mean, these are doable hikes if you got a good pair of shoes, and it's not something you're like, I've got to have climbing equipment. I've got to be Superman. No, you don't have to do that. Now, there are places where you can do those kind of hikes. So if you want to go to Geisberg or Untersberg, those are definitely more challenging. Like, if you're not an expert, you're not really good, maybe stick to ones nearby here and doing those. But it's really a fun thing to do because that's one of the things when you come to Salzburg, there's so many times you only stay in the Altstadt. You want to go out and you want to explore. Now, before we get too far along, I do have to tell you this sad don't when you are here in Salzburg. Don't expect Salzburg to be cheap. I mean, with such a beautiful city and so many tourists that come here, prices, whether you're looking at accommodation, food, anything when you're here, it is not a cheap place to visit. It's worth visiting. It's worth the money. Like, you don't feel like you're getting ripped off, but do realize it is pricey. That's why I tell a lot of people, maybe you want to make it a day trip. I mean, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours away on the train from Innsbruck or Munich, 2.5 hours from Vienna. You can come here for a day or just for one night and then go back to other places and save money that way. But honestly, don't think it's going to be cheap, but it is worth it. And the thing is, though, I will say this. If you're looking to save money, this is one of the cities. Don't pass up on getting the Salzburger card, okay? Because this actually gives you interest. If you're going to go up to the Hohensalzburg, you're going to go up to the fortress, and you're going to go to one other museum, or you're going to go to the Mozart's house, right? It pays for itself right there. And it's in 24-hour, 48-hour, 72-hour blocks, and you can get that. Public transportation is included. I know you don't really need public transportation much when you're here, but maybe if you want to go to the Augustina, beer garden in Milden, maybe you do want to grab that public transportation out there. But honestly, this is one of the places that Salzburg card can save you a lot of money if you're going to go see a lot of stuff. Because honestly, I got to tell you, don't skip out on the museums when you're here. And if you're going up to Hohensalzburg, you got the Museum of Modern Art that's up there. There's the World of Puppets Museum that's up there. You have, right here, you have the Geburtshaus. You have all kinds of great museums around the city. There's a toy museum. There's so many great things to see and do when you're here. So don't think it's just one museum or one, Geburtshaus to do. There's a lot to see. So don't skip out on those museums. And the Salzburger card can really help out with keeping your price down when you are here. Now, most of the time when you're in Salzburg, you're staying in the Altstadt. You're staying over by the Hohensalzburg that's covered up by those clouds right now. But honestly, I got to tell you this. Don't just stay in the Altstadt. Make sure you go out and explore. Even if you're just going across the river on Steingasse and seeing some things, that can be really nice. Or going out to the Hellbrunn Palace to get out of the center. But honestly, my favorite thing to do when I'm here that's not on the Altstadt is actually taking these paths and walking up and down the river. It is just a great walk to do. And if you want, don't forget, there's actually boats that will take you on tours. They'll go up and down the Salzach River, which is just a really beautiful thing to do. So if you want to kind of get out of the hustle and bustle, not be overrun with tourists all the time, just walking along the river, going to some of the outskirts, not the old town, is going to be a huge difference in terms of how much you're going to pay where you're going to stay, but also just how much headaches you're going to have with all the tourists. So just something to think about when you're here. So Salzburgers really love their bikes and their bike paths. And I got to tell you, don't walk on the bike paths. You might think it's a big sidewalk. No, it's a bike path that's going by. So do be aware of that, because you don't hear the bell, or even worse, you don't hear the bell. You just feel the bike hitting you on the backside. So don't forget to do that. But what's cool is don't forget you can actually rent bikes when you are here and go explore. So that can be a nice way to get around town, because it is really a beautiful place. Now, what don't I have for you when you're here during warmer times is don't pass up the Mirabell Gardens, because this area here is beautiful with the flowers and just relaxing out here. It's really, really beautiful. Now, the Mirabell Palace, it's just a government building, not really anything you really have to go into. It's cool, but you don't really need to do anything with it. But don't pass up the Mirabell Gardens. They're awesome. If you're looking for a palace you want to go and check out go out, or I should say this, don't miss the fountains at the Hellbrunn Palace, about 20-minute drive away from the downtown area. That's where the lake is from Sound of Music. But what's cool is they have these beautiful gardens with the jumping fountains that are out there. It's really a cool thing to see. Now, if it don't for you, if you're coming here with your kids, don't pass up going to the Marionette Theater. You may think, Mark, marionettes, puppets, come on. Well, actually, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site thing here in Salzburg. Yeah, not just the buildings, the beautifulnalso is UNESCO worthy. There's actually cultural stuff here. So checking out the marionettes when you are here, it's kind of a nice. We went there with the kids when they were little. It was a really fun thing to do. And also if you go up to the Hohensalzburg, the fortress on the hill, there's actually a World of Puppets museum in there as well that you can check out. So it's kind of a cool thing. Some of the questions I get about coming to Salzburg is Wolters World, when should I come to Salzburg? Is there a time I don't want to be there? And I'll be honest with you, don't worry when you want to come to Salzburg. You'll have a great time when you're here. Now, I do have to tell you, don't be surprised if you get overrun with tourists if you come at certain times of the year. The busiest time, like in the summer, like if you're in the Altstadt, the old town in the summer, it's literally tour group after tour group of tourists everywhere, and it's just insanely packed. You come here at Christmas time during the Christmas markets, especially on the weekend, this place gets so full of tourists, it gets a bit claustrophobic. During the Salzburg Festival with all the music and everything going on, it gets really busy then too. But honestly, even when it's busy, you can still enjoy it because the city's beautiful. And yes, sometimes you come, the weather's not great. Like you can't see the Hohensalzburg up there. You can't see much of anything up there behind me when you're looking. But even in bad weather, Salzburg's a fantastic place to be because there's so many museums. There's so many palaces. The Hohensalzburg you can go see. There's so many things you really enjoy that it's fine all year round. Now, of course, the summertime is probably the best time in the spring because the parks are open. You go into the Mirabell Garden like I was talking about, the Hellbrunn Palace, the fountains going and seeing that. But honestly, you're going to enjoy it any time of the year, whether you want to go skiing in the winter, hiking times, any time of the year is going to be beautiful. I mean, you're going to have some good times, but honestly, there's those super packed times you need to be aware of. But honestly, any time of the year, you're going to be good. And don't worry about the weather when you come here because it's going to rain, it's going to snow, but you're still going to love it. So one of my favorite parts of coming here to Salzburg is just actually walking around the city. So don't pass up just walking around the city. But Getreidegasse, that is the main shopping street here where you have these beautiful signs and everything. Yes, the McDonald's sign actually is a golden arch that they have it there. It's just really beautiful. And I got to say this, don't pass up on buying your Austrian souvenirs when you are here in Salzburg. And Getreidegasse, yes, it is a little bit more expensive than other places around the country, but you have excellent handicrafts here in Austria, so you can actually get really good stuff. But we are here, it's really nice. I got to tell you this, don't take my mom here because she sees the dirndl, the local like lederhosen kind of clothing, and freaking loves it. So she always tries to buy it when she's here. And there's plenty of stores that you can get it on when you are here. But yeah, you just can't pass up walking up here, just taking all the beautiful signs and shops. So you understand why all those tourists come here, even just to go shopping, because it really is beautiful. So don't pass up the street, okay? You got to check this out. Just walking around downtown. I just want to reinforce, don't bring my mother here because she will see all the local wares and she will take pictures and want to try them all on. So just be aware if you come here with her, every single time there's something that looks vaguely Austrian or what she thinks is, she'll take a picture and she'll want to try it on. Now, another thing that people actually brought up to me a number of times, my students have come here when I brought them and other tourists when they've been here, they're always worried about these little pass-throughs, these little arcades. And I can tell you this, don't skip using the arcades. They actually get you over to the other street as opposed to having to walk all the way down to the end and go back by the Mozart's birth house again. No, you can just cross through. What's cool, it's actually usually some stores in there or some displays when you go through and it's lit up, so you'll be fine. I know that one looks a little dark, but don't worry, it's the middle of the day. You'll be fine. You'll be safe using this, but don't forget, use those arcades. It makes life easier. So when you're walking around Salzburg, don't be surprised if you actually want to burst out and start singing because you're reminded of the sound of music. Because they did film some of it around here, and you actually do tours when you're here, but don't actually bust out and singing because they don't really do the doe, a deer, female deer here. It's just us silly tourists that love to do that, okay? But I will tell you this, the Austrians are smart because they know tourists will do the tours of the Sound of Music spots. And I'm going to tell you this, don't just pick any tour when it comes to seeing the Sound of Music sites. Make sure you pick one that's not just going to show you stuff in Salzburg, but take you out to places. Going out to the Helbrunn Palace where you can see the lake where they're at, or go see where the little gazebo is. I mean, those kinds are actually fun. I actually went on the tour with my aunt and uncle, and they loved it. Of course, it is my aunt's favorite movie, so that might have something to do with it. But actually, what's a very entertaining stop, and what's cool, is if you do those tours that take you outside of Salzburg, you have great views around the area. So you see the mountains, you see the majestic everything around here. It is really cool. And that kind of leads into another don't I have for you. Don't forget about some of the day trips you can do from here in Salzburg. Yes, you can go to the Salzkammergute. You can go down there. You can go, if you want to get to Hallstatt, you can do that and get your frozen pictures if you want. Or you can do, like I said, you can go to Munich. You can get over to Innsbruck, both from about an hour and 45 minutes away. So you can do that. I mean, there's a lot of good day trips you can do from here. And there's actually closer things, whether it's hikes or going to the lakes when you're by here. Really a fantastic, day trip things to do. So you can use Salzburg as a base and go see other spots as well. So something to kind of think about, but don't do the singing. Now, to keep along with the Sound of Music theme, I think it's really important to mention this. Don't think the Salzburgers are friendly like Maria in the Sound of Music. Salzburgers, since they have so many tourists, they get a little bit tired of the tourists. So I wouldn't say they're the friendliest bunch when you're here. And I really got to tell you this. When you were in Salzburg at the restaurants, because so many tourists are here and they just keep getting bombarded again and again, don't be surprised if you have the most Austrian service, like Austrian service when you come here to Salzburg. Meaning, yes, it's professional, but don't expect it to be friendly. So do be aware of that. Also, I got to say this, don't forget to make reservations when you're going to be here for dinner, because since there's so many tourists and there are a lot of restaurants, but not enough for all the tourists that are here, you're going to make sure you do make reservations, because if you don't, you might be eating a Bosna, like the local double hot dog thing when you're going around. And you don't want to do that because there's a lot of really good restaurants here, so don't forget to make those reservations. So if you're coming here to Salzburg, don't pass up going into the cathedral. It is the largest Baroque cathedral in Austria, but it's just an amazing place. What you might not know is this was actually its own country, Salzburg was, and actually the rulers were the church. And so that's why you have all the churches here, the magnificent cathedral you can check out, and that's really awesome. Also, right next door is the Salzburg Museum. Well, we're visiting. It's my mom's favorite museum here in Salzburg, so you can do that. A couple other things I need to tell you about when you are here. One, don't forget to try the beer when you are here in Salzburg. It's definitely a beer place, so, grab that pretzel as well. But when you're going to get the beers, you got Stiegel. You can go to the Stiegel Brewery when you're here. Also, probably the most fun thing to do in the summertime, because in the winter when it's cold and wet, yes, you can enjoy the Christmas markets. Like, don't pass up Salzburg at Christmas time because it's fantastic. But honestly, the Augustina, the Augustina beer garden, it's follow the river, kind of like direction of the train station with the other side of the river up that way. It's fantastic. Don't miss that. But also, don't forget to bring food with you when you go to the Augustina beer garden, because you can bring your own food, but you do have to buy their beer, which is fine. It's good. But you can bring your own food, which can help save the price a little bit. But honestly, it's such a fun place to be in the summertime. Like, we met so many locals when we were there. I also met some tourists too. But it's just a really fun time just sitting there playing cards, drinking beer, having a good time. You can, no problem buying the food when you're there. You can do that. But to save some money, you'll notice the locals actually bring their own food. And I guess that leads into another don't I have when you come here is don't forget to eat the local treats when you are here in Salzburg. There's a lot of good ones. Obviously, I've talked about the Mozart kugel, right? The Mozart balls and things, but there's more. There's the Salzburg Knuckle. I can never pronounce it correctly. Basically, think of it as a vanilla meringue or a vanilla souffle. It is fantastic. It takes about 20 minutes to make, so be aware of that. So you're going to need some time for them to make it for you to get it. But don't eat your Salzburger Nudeln slow because it deflates. It's a meringue, so it's just going to go plop down. So they'll bring it out. It takes about 20 minutes to make. It'll come out all big, so get it right away and eat it fast because otherwise it goes. So, but it still is fantastic. So remember that one. Also, there's Bosna, and Bosna is the Salzburger hot dog, basically. And what it is, it's 2 hot dogs, and then it's got ketchup and mustard and chopped up onions and parsley, and the important part is the curry powder they put in there. Now, if you like currywurst, if you're like in Germany, other places, it's in that direction, but it's totally different. And what's funny, if you look it up online, they'll show you these beautiful pictures of nicely cut up your onion on there, and it looks like it's there for an Instagram picture, when in reality, when you get in, it's a messy mess. And if you don't want 2 hot dogs, so the 2 sausages that go in, you can ask for a kleine, a small, they'll just give you 1, so you can have that. That's really good. Obviously, you can go with a lot of the typical Austrian fare when you're here, the Tafelspitz, the boiled beef, which is okay. It's not my favorite, but it's doable when you are here. The Knochen, which is the basically, I guess you call it the Spätzle, the noodles with cheese and caramelized onions in it. Oh, that's a really good specialty from here too. And like I said, the beer, I mean, you can't go wrong eating and drinking when you are here. And I know I said it probably before about reservations, but yeah, don't forget to make reservations when you're here because these restaurants do get packed out because of all the tourists. Now, another don't I have to tell you has to do with the Hohensalzburg, the fortress up on the hill. One thing I gotta tell you, don't think it's just a fortress. There's actually a bunch of museums up there. There's restaurants up there. There's amazing, amazing views from up there. Now, I'm here on a cloudy day, so don't really go for the views on a cloudy day, but do go up to go see those museums. The Museum of Modern Art is up there. The Puppet Museum I talked about, that's up there too. And it's really cool. And you can take the funicular up or you can hike up there, but it's really cool and something you don't want to miss out on. When you're down here, you can actually go to St. Peter's Church. Don't miss St. Peter's Church, yeah, but don't miss St. Peter's Cemetery. That is actually really cool, and that's where you can go into the catacombs when you're here. So don't miss out on those things when you are here. And though it is all clouded over and treed over, go up to the Hohensalzburg. It's fantastic, especially if you're here at Christmas time, because there's also another little Christmas market up there. They had activities for our kids. They had a great time when they were really tiny, even when they're a little bit older. So don't miss out on the Hohensalzburg. I'll be honest with you, when you are here in Salzburg, don't really feel like you need to stay anywhere near the train station. You'll use it if you're going to Innsbruck, you're going to Munich, or back to Vienna, or whatever. But honestly, by the train station, Südtirolerplatz, sounds really cool. It's just buses. So really, no reason to stay by the train station or hang out by the train station. Go to the Altstadt, go to the Old Town, be down by there. It's going to be much better. Don't mind all the tour groups. It's such a popular city. They will be going around a lot. So you just got to deal with it. Honestly, though, if we're going to be in Salzburg, you don't want to miss this place. It is fantastic with all the history, all the museum, all the architecture, just everything around. I mean, it's just fantastic. I got to tell you, don't forget to look up and just take in the beautiful architecture all around the city. It's wonderful, whether you're here at Mozartplatz, chill with Mozart, or you're going up to the fort, the Hohensalzburg, or you're just going around town. It's gorgeous. And so do enjoy that. But if you're going to be here, one of the things you like to do is shop. And I talked about that, but I forgot to mention this. Don't forget to get all your shopping done before Sunday, because on Sunday, the shops are closed here. So do be ready. If you do need something, head to the train station. The shops there are open on Sunday, but the rest of the city pretty much closes down. So it's museums and eating on Sunday when you are here. So I hope this helps you know why you don't want to pass up Salzburg on your next vacation to Europe or Austria. It is a fantastic city with so much to enjoy. And I wish you all the best. And I'll say, Auf Wiedersehen from Mozart's hometown of Salzburg.